Welcome to Forum 360 on Fusion, your PBS channel. This is Leslie Ungar, your host today. Thank you for joining us for our global outlook with a local view. There is a quote about education that goes as follows: "The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires." Akron Public Schools is in the second year of a program designed to inspire students to be more involved in their own educational process, and to inspire adults to listen to students' input in their own educational process. Students were selected by their schools and administrators, and they took an oath of office just like adult board members. We welcome to Forum 360 a student board member, Nathaniel Smith. Thank you for coming to Forum 360.
Thank you for having me.
So, Nathaniel, the school board comes up with an idea of having students who have a voice, not a vote,
Right.
on the school board.
Yes.
Did you pursue being on the board, or were you pursued as a person to want to be on the board? How did you end up one of 8 student board members?
So it all came by surprise. It was not something I was expecting at all. My counselor called me into the office, and
So is it still true that when you get a call from a counselor or from a principal or whatever, do you still think you did something wrong?
Yeah. Well,
that doesn't change, right?
I mean, I was
even if you know you didn't do anything wrong?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah.
Just want to see if it's still the same.
Oh yeah, definitely. You
Okay.
just kind of had that feeling. But she called me down there, and she didn't say anything. She just gave me the paper, and she let me read it. She said, the choice is, it's up to you. And I said, oh, definitely. And I had asked on spot, I'm like, how was I selected for this? She said it was something that was, it was brought to their attention by the board, obviously, and they asked a lot of the staff members and some of the students who they think would be good for it. And as a junior, they thought that I was well deserving of that position. And I was completely all for it. That's all. I was just extremely happy.
So in your biggest hopes about this position, what did you think you could accomplish being a student board member on the Akron Public School board with a voice and not a vote? What did you think you could accomplish?
Well, there weren't any specific expectations that I had from the jump, but learning the ropes and learning how everything would work and being introduced to all the board members, we early on got to find out how things would work. And then at first I didn't understand the concept of you have a voice but you don't have a vote. And then I'm like, if I have a voice, how does this make any sense? Is no vote, how am I gonna affect anything? So they were all ears. They just listened to what we had to say. They asked us some questions. And me personally, I just wanted to, I know it sounds a little bit common or cheesy, but I really wanted to make a difference. That's if I could impact kids in the future and my peers' kids and my kids even on, then that would be a big thing for me. Whether it's something little, like changing something on the lunch menu, but yeah.
And so in a minute we'll get into some things that you might have an input about, but first take us to, I happened to be at the board meeting when you were administered the oath.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you became a board member.
Yes.
So what was that like, attending this board of mostly adults, and what was it like, and was it intimidating to speak there?
Well, it was at first. That was something I was thinking about all day. I just had this all in the back of my mind. I'm like, how is this going to go? I have no idea what to expect. I have not met any of these people. I don't know who's going to be there. And they were talking about, there's going to be, the newspaper's going to be there, and you're going to be in the newspaper. They're going to take pictures and all this, and you're going to be on YouTube. And I was like, okay, it's a little nerve-wracking. I always had high expectations for myself, and that was one thing that I thought I was ready for. And then me going into it, I was nervous. I was nervous at first. Sure. They gave me some water and some cookies, and that was completely fine. And then it just felt natural, honestly. It felt like that's a place where I could be.
Do you remember the first time you ever spoke? Do you remember what you spoke about?
I do not. Not the first time. I don't remember the first time.
Give us an example of one time that you wanted to talk to the board about something.
Honestly, it was about the food.
Okay.
It was about the food. I had received a lot of complaints, even just being a student. So without it being a student board member, just me being a student, I hear a lot about, the menu is terrible, the pizza is terrible, it's greasy, it's nasty, and one thing I stressed, it was kind of a joke at first, but I told him, like, okay, I'm gonna change this. This is one thing I can probably see if I can change, and that was like the first thing that came to mind, and that was one big thing for me, was changing the lunch menu.
So when you talked about it, you talked about what some things that students didn't like. Mm-hmm. How did that change the menu?
So the menu wasn't completely changed. There were a lot of new, different types of food that was implemented, but the pizza, it wasn't completely changed, but they brought back a pizza that everybody talked about. Was like the Galaxy pizza from like elementary school, and we don't have it. You normally have pizza like every Monday or every Tuesday, and it was kind of one of those things where it's like we'll have the school pizza, and then like the one go back to the regular pizza, and then kind of back and forth. So it's not completely changed yet, but I definitely see progress in it for sure.
Is there something that was added to the menu?
French toast sticks.
French toast sticks.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. What else did they put? Chicken and waffles. That was interesting. There was some stuff on there that I had no idea about that I did not expect, and that was one of them. And it was surprising. I was
that students that students wanted.
Yeah.
And so you're able, even though it's food, and some people might think it's not important, but we eat every day, so right, it's kind of important.
Just a little bit.
The idea is that you could have a voice, and then you could actually see something change.
Oh, yeah.
As a result of that.
Oh, definitely.
Which that's the amazing part, is
big
whether it's food or whatever it's about, is
big
that
thing.
You could see change.
Yes, knowing that I actually had an input on something, and I actually affected change in my school.
So if you're like walking down the halls, do people go,
oh yeah,
French toast, like French toast sticks, Nathaniel, thanks?
Well, like, even if it's not the lunch menu, a lot of people poke at me like, oh, student board member, like, aren't you a board member? What are you doing here? Like, I'll be at practice for basketball, and they'll say, oh, like, the student board member's here, or like they'll mess around, like, call me Mr. President and stuff like that. But just that's amazing to me.
So it's something that they know that you're doing,
yes.
and that they think is a good thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've gotten a lot of respect from the staff and the students. I'm really appreciative of that.
When you went to your first meeting, or your second meeting, what is something that surprised you about a board meeting?
How many policies there were, and how official everything was. That it wasn't just I'm gonna say this and this is gonna happen. More so of this is documented. We have to go by what's in this policy. I never knew how any of that worked before. And that was one cool thing I thought was learning about the policies and how strict they are and how they have to follow those. We just recently learned about how they dictate snow days. And we all know that students love the snow days up here. And so even little stuff like that, it was just nice to figure out how all that works, like, officially. And that was one of the biggest things that surprised me, was seeing how official everything was and how big the policies are. That was definitely crazy. Now,
you started as a student board member as a junior.
Yes.
And you're now almost halfway through your senior year.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So you will have spent 2 years. Do you know, will someone replace you then?
Yes.
And will they replace you as a junior?
I have no clue. I think it varied. We have a freshman.
Okay.
We have I think 2 sophomores or one. Okay. I'm not 100% sure, but there's one other senior that's with me from STEM, and it's It's interesting. I'm not sure exactly how it'll work. I'm not sure if that's something that I'll go and ask the staff, like, okay, I think you should recommend this person next year for this. I'm not sure how they'll do it.
But they're going to continue with the students.
They might have some
there
big
already
shoes
will
to
be.
fill. Yes.
That's right. They will have big shoes to fill. Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, did the teachers that you have, did they know that you were a student board member?
Not at first. Not at first. Michelle Kearns, which is our principal, she did on the announcements, she kind of announced it to everybody, and she said, we'd like you guys to congratulate Nathaniel Smith on becoming a student board member. He was inducted last night, and then a lot of the teachers were just congratulating me, so really not until she announced it, but it was definitely nice.
So that meant something to them too?
Oh, definitely. And it gave me a lot of support.
Now, in my day, we called them high schools.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily call them high schools. You call them, or some are called learning centers. So tell us, where are you graduating from this coming May or June? Where are you graduating from?
I will be graduating from the Ellet Community Learning Center.
The Ellet Community Learning Center.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, will you, when you go to college and people ask you, where did you go to school, will you say Ellet Community Learning Center?
That's one thing that I think I might say Ellet High School by accident. Then I might correct myself, but I'm just so used to high school. But
you're used to it too. Well, that makes me feel better.
Oh, definitely,
Okay.
definitely. I don't think anybody really says CLC, honestly.
Okay, I didn't know if that was something more like in writing, but when you talked about it, do you still say high schools?
Well, yeah, I still say high school regardless. CLC is just the proper term to use. That's really what it is.
Okay,
but,
thank you. I feel better about that.
Oh, yes.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Today we are talking to Nathaniel Smith, who is a student board member on the school board of the Akron Public Schools, a student, one of 8, who has a voice, not a vote, but has a voice at every board meeting. There are 7 others.
7.
So were these students that you met for the first time?
One of them I had already knew through basketball.
Okay, so the other ones, this was a way for you to meet students from around the city.
Yes, that was really nice. You didn't know what to expect. I seen them and I thought it was pretty cool that I actually knew somebody. I was kind of nervous. I'm normally not nervous when it comes to meeting new people. I'm more of a social person, but that was one of the times where I actually was nervous. I just had no idea what to expect. And they're really, really nice people. I'm hoping to further our friendships down the line, keep it.
Now, each student board member, you mentored with an adult board member?
Yes.
So that's someone else that you met that you didn't know before.
Very, very supportive. Morgan Lasher, she was great.
So what did mentoring, the word mentor even in corporate America today means different things, different people and different relationships. But tell us, what was mentoring with a school board member? What was that like for you?
Oh, it was amazing. We talked a lot the day of the introduction, and then we got to know each other a little better. She had came to my school, and she had brought lunch, and we probably talked for about an hour and a half just about life. And that's one thing that meant a lot to me, was that it was excuse me, it was deeper than her getting to know me as a student, but she actually took the time out to get to know me as a person and who I was and what made me who I am. And I was very comfortable talking to her, and she's just been so supportive. She's such a happy person, and it's rubbed off on me, honestly. It's amazing.
Now, what is something that you have observed from her or listened to her that you will say to yourself, when I'm an adult and I'm, contributing in the workplace or in the nonprofit world, what is something that you've learned that you would want to emulate from her?
Honestly, her ability to remain positive and calm, and honestly, never seen her frustrated. I've always seen a smile on her face. And I think that would be one big thing, is remaining calm and staying positive through any given situation. And that's one thing that I definitely try to keep on from her.
That's a great thing
to
follow.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Now, Akron Public Schools had the first or one of the first STEM middle schools in the country. They now have a STEM high school, and there may be STEM classes. Was STEM in any way a part of your academic background?
Not me personally, no. I've always been in just regular public schools.
So tell us about your major and your academic goals once you graduate.
Well, me personally, I would like to attend Florida State. And
out of all the states,
yes.
there are 50.
Yes.
And out of all the colleges,
yes.
how did you pick Florida State, Florida then, and Florida State?
Well, there was a thought where of course you have the Gators, and I was like, do I really want to be a Gator? And I was like, a Seminole actually sounds pretty nice, and I was thinking about where it was, and it was different. I hadn't known anybody personally that went to Florida State. I have some friends near that area that know the campus really well. It was a process, kind of. I have some family in Atlanta, so they're not completely too far away. So it was one of those things where it just felt like something I could actually do, and that's amazing when people hear of me from Akron, and they're like, he's going to Florida State.
Now, you went to the campus and you saw it.
I haven't been there personally.
I'll
be taking a visit sometime soon, within the next couple of weeks. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'll bet you are.
Yes. But I've seen pictures from friends or on Google. It looks really nice. I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Now, I understand that you, at this point, are going to major in sports management.
Yes.
Out of all the majors in the world, how did you pick sports management? Now, you did mention basketball, so
yes.
you play basketball.
Yes.
So how did your interest in sports then take you to a major in sports management?
So I didn't want to go to college stuck and not knowing what I wanted to do. I realized I had many talents, from writing to speaking in front of people, and sports was one thing that I was just naturally good at.
So let me just interrupt you for a moment and ask you, because statistically, a lot of young men, and probably in today's world, young women in high schools, think that they're going to play professional sports, think they're going to play college sports, then think they're going to play professional sports, and statistically they're not going to.
Oh yeah.
So, you looked in the honest mirror, it sounds like, and you said, I like playing high school basketball, but I'm probably not the next Michael Jordan. Right. Is that right?
Yes. So my brother, growing up with him, he only had me by 1 year. He's 1 year older than me. He was from Cleveland. I was here. We met up at my dad's house on occasion, and we always played basketball together, played football together, everything. So around my 8th grade year, his freshman year, he moved to Houston, and we were always talking about we're gonna go to the league and we was gonna be on the same team, or I can't wait to go against you and I'm gonna beat you and this and that. And then there was one time I remember, I think it was my 8th grade year, he called me and said, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. He said, I don't think the NBA is realistic for me right now. And he explained his situation, and that made me take a step back and think. And I said, now that makes a lot of sense. I was like, I'm not upset about that. I was like, I continue to love basketball. I said, but this is not something that I see myself going all the way in. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that I didn't think I wasn't good enough or anything, but it was just more so of a realistic standpoint on how many people actually do get to that point.
I applaud you for looking in that, what I call it, the honest mirror.
Yeah, reality has just been the biggest thing for me. You always have to check into it whenever and it's nice, like me personally, I think it's really nice to live and to dream. But reality is one thing that you're always going to have to think about. You always have to have it in the back of your mind. One reason I did that was I used to check my grades every day. I would say, okay, I want straight A's. But I would go look at my grades, and I'm like, this is not straight A's. So it's just one thing that motivated me, and I just took that and applied that to life. And it's made things a lot easier to know what's real and what's not, and to have an eye to see what's real and what's not. So that's been a big thing, honestly, is looking. into reality in the
So
honesty mirror.
how do you go from a major to sports management? And let's say that you do keep that major. You know, some people do, some people change, some people actually keep it. And so it kind of marries your love of sports and,
Yes.
and speaking and,
Yes.
and the social aspect, right? Being with people and representing them. How do you then actually, I'm guessing agent, sports agent, how do you then actually like become a sports agent?
So I wasn't 100% sure of the whole process, but the end of my sophomore year around May, I attended a Black Male Summit at the John S. Knight Center. And they have a lot of mentors there for to just educate a lot of young African Americans and motivate them. And one of the gentlemen I was blessed to meet, I'm not 100% sure of his name. I just remember he was, I think it was about 19 or 20, or like his freshman, sophomore year at Akron U. And he said he was taking sports management. And I don't exactly remember what our conversation consisted of, but it definitely made me a lot more interested in it. And then by the beginning of my junior year, so it's probably about 5 months later, around there, 4 or 5 months later, I went to a Rubber Ducks game, and I seen him there, and he had like his uniform on and everything, and it was nice to see that within a course of 4 to 5 months, he went from, you know, being a college student to now working with the Rubber Ducks, which is local, but that's still a step. And
Absolutely.
I'm willing to take those small steps, and I'm really ready for
There's
what
no
they're-
small steps or big steps. They're all steps.
Oh yeah, steps.
No, in one of the, about 15 or 16 years ago, one of the first shows that I hosted, I had a sports agent and a former player. And I remember I asked the sports agent, what do you do for your clients? And I will never forget his answer. 15 or 16 years later, he said, I give them peace of mind.
Oh wow.
And I thought that was a great answer,
Yeah.
that, you know, he did all the heavy lifting and the work so that they didn't have to worry. They didn't have to worry about their contract or their
Definitely.
money, their finances,
Yeah.
peace of mind. So I always remember that.
That's
so you'll be
amazing.
giving peace of mind.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love to give knowledge. It's my biggest thing.
In the remaining minutes we have, I'm going to ask you for 1 or 2 word answers, kind of like a lightning round. Okay. Best memory from any year of school
Ooh, sophomore year, winning the city championship.
in basketball?
Yes,
Okay.
basketball city championship.
Okay. We know what you want to do. Have you thought about where you would want to live after college?
Maybe Florida, California, somewhere warm. Yes.
Even if they have hurricanes and floods and stuff like that.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes, I'm
Okay.
ready for it.
What do you value most in your friends?
Respect and time. Respect and time.
Who are some of your heroes?
Definitely LeBron. Martin Luther King Jr., definitely. And I would say Jermaine Cole. He was an artist, or musician, artist.
So then that bags a musical artist
Yes.
of yours. Who would that
Yes.
be?
Jermaine Cole.
Jermaine Cole.
Yes.
What might we hear if we got in your car? What might you be listening to on iTunes?
A lot of different stuff, honestly. A lot of stuff people I don't think would expect. Would you like me to name artists or like the genre? I have like
Anything.
some R&B, some rap, a little bit of soul, a little bit of country. Just stuff that really matches my mindset at the time and matches my energy. I like to stay calm. Like I have a playlist in Apple just called Chill, and I just throw it on shuffle and I just put my headphones in and relax. And in the car, I might do the same.
If you had a magic wand and you could be granted any one wish for the Akron Public School
Ooh, yes.
School District,
Yes.
what would that one wish be?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's one that I have not thought about. One
Let's
wish
call that
for
my
the
magic
Akron.
wand question.
One wish for the Akron Public Schools. I would say just something, it doesn't even have to be specific, but something that would heavily benefit children who struggle outside of public education, that have their own personal things going on, and just something that can help benefit them and kind of give them a bit of an advantage and give them a chance. That would be my biggest thing, honestly. I would love for that.
If you looked into the future 10 or 20 years from now, is there some way you think that education will be different than it is today?
Oh, I think it'll be a lot harder, honestly.
So
Yeah.
it's good you're getting out now?
Oh, definitely. Yes. There's some classes that we didn't have to take that they'll be required now. And I just see that coming from past generations to where I'll ask like my uncle or my mom for help, and they're like, I have never seen this before. So I just see that taking another step forward, and I think it might become a lot with technology.
Harder. So one word answer, Skyway or Swenson's?
Swenson's all day, yes.
All right.
All day.
In some ways, grades K through 12 have not changed a lot since the days of the one-room schoolhouse in Little House on the Prairie. In other ways, education has changed greatly. Our guest today, Nathaniel Smith, a student school board member with a voice, has told us a little bit about how it has changed and how it will change. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Akron Public Schools is preparing students today. I'm Leslie Ungar for Forum 360. Thank you for joining us.
Forum 360 is brought to you by John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, the Akron Community Foundation, Hudson Community Television, the Rubber City Radio Group, Shaw Jewish Community Center of Akron, Blue Green, Electric Impulse Communications, and Forum 360 supporters.